Dr. Kristie Ennis, physical therapist, nutritionist, and certified strength and conditioning specialist. And today I am here with a very special, amazing, and awesome guest, Devon Pratt. Devon is a certified master holistic nutritionist and owner of Devon's Holistic Wellness. And she's here to talk to us today about how to ease inflammation. So I'm going to give it to Devon to take it away.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Kristie. As Kristie mentioned, I am a master certified holistic nutritionist and the owner of Devon's Holistic Wellness. What I'm here to talk to you a little bit about today is inflammation and how we can take back a little bit of control with that in our diets. So inflammation is a word that most of us are familiar with, and I think most of us can relate to that. We have maybe heard it from our doctors, we've heard it in the research that we've done, and it's been attributed to maybe some of the aches and pains that we have experienced in our lives. So it's not all bad. Inflammation in the body is actually quite important. So when your immune system comes in to fight a splinter or a cut, it's preventing our body from getting an infection. So it is very important to have inflammation. However, we do not need to have a state of chronic inflammation, and that's actually where some of our issues come from. So the compound that triggers that inflammatory response in the body is something called arachidonic acid. And although we can get that in food, we don't actually need to get it from our food because our bodies are producing that on its own. So all of the inflammatory response that we need, we have within us. We don't actually need to eat anything inflammatory. It's actually very similar to cholesterol. So we do need a small amount of cholesterol in the body, but our bodies produce all that we need. So we don't need to consume any extra cholesterol. So the top 5 arachidonic foods actually might surprise some of you a little bit. So the first one, and it's by a long shot, the first top producing arachidonic acid food is chicken. So some of us might be thinking that it would be, a beef or something red meat related. Chicken, eggs, beef, sausage, and fish. Top 5 arachidonic acid producing foods. So after eating one meal of animal products, people suffer from something called endotoxemia. And basically what that means is their bloodstream becomes full of bacterial toxins known as endotoxins. Now, the theory is that the animal fat causes our gut to become leaky. Actually, that epithelial layer is only 1 cell thick in some spots. So as you can imagine, any sort of inflammatory response could create holes in the gut. So that happens, it allows that stomach bacteria to spill out into our bloodstream. It causes a spike in inflammation about 4 hours after we eat. That's when the spike happens. Arteries get paralyzed, artery function gets cut in half. This is all just from one meal of animal products. If you can imagine eating these meals 3 times a day, your body never really has a chance to come back to homeostasis. It's in that chronic inflammation stage. Since the standard American diet is actually 70 to 80% animal products, most of us are eating an inflammatory meal every 5 hours. And that's every 5 hours, 3 times a day, every day of the week, every day of the month. So as you can tell, that would create a chronic state of inflammation. Now, the relationship between pH and inflammation is actually really interesting as well. The pH scale goes from 1, which is acidic, to 14, which is alkaline, and 7 is neutral. So the blood in your body will always remain at 7.4 pH. That is what it has to be at in order to survive. So it's slightly alkaline, and that's kind of the sweet spot in the body. Your saliva and your urine can actually become a little bit acidic if it's, if we're introducing dietary and environmental conditions that aren't ideal. However, the blood pH cannot fluctuate from that 7.4. So that means your body is constantly trying to neutralize any acid in your body. So whatever we're putting in, the body is trying to combat those conditions and create the alkaline environment. In order to do that, it will actually borrow calcium, which is alkaline, from our bones, and that can create conditions like osteoporosis. So an anti-inflammatory diet can actually really help more than just your gut. It can really affect your entire body, including your bone structure. So food high in antioxidants, these are really, really important. They help prevent oxidative stress and inflammation, and a plant-based diet has actually been shown to have the highest amount of antioxidants possible. So adding plants to every meal can truly impact your wellness and add quality of life to your years. Kale, pineapple, chia or flax seeds, mushrooms, broccoli, blueberries, sauerkraut or other pickled or fermented foods. You've all heard of probably turmeric, ginger, garlic, those things. And these are some of the top anti-inflammatory foods. Now, nightshades are a family of plants that come up in conversation. They include like eggplant and tomatoes and things like that. So it comes up in conversation to do with inflammation because nightshades can be somewhat inflammatory. Now, people believe that they should be removed from the diet when we're removing other aspects like the sugar and the dairy when we're talking about inflammation. Here are my thoughts. Any dietary change can be challenging. It's important to prioritize your efforts, and most people eating that standard American diet between 70 and 80% animal products, they're focusing on reducing inflammation in the body. The positive effects of eating fewer animal products is astronomical, whereas lessening your intake of nightshade fruits and vegetables is less impactful. So when you're making changes, go for the big guns, tweak your plan as you go along. There's almost always ways that we can improve our diets, but if we can't sustain it, then the change actually means nothing. Stick with the improvements that you can incorporate into your lifestyle realistically. Try removing animal fats from one meal per day. If that feels too much for you, try removing them from one meal per week. When you do this somewhat comfortably, increase it to 2 and go from there.
Super duper awesome stuff. That was a whole lot of knowledge bombs given there in just a very short period of time. So if you have more questions, Devon is available to answer. I'm going to give you her link to her website, and you'll be able to contact her through that. And I'll link up some notes from this episode too. So thanks so much for tuning in today. Thank you so much for Devon for coming and sharing that information with us.
Thank you so
and
much.
Stay tuned for more.